Available on the city's website, on social media, and the number and URL have been published on the city's agendas, posted on the city's bulletin boards. For those calling in, your calls will be queued, and while you're awaiting your turn to speak, you will be muted. You will be prompted by me when it's time for public comments. To request to make a public comment, you will need to press *9 from your phone. During the public comment period, the clerk will announce the last 3 digits of your phone number and will ask you to unmute by pressing *6. Please clearly state your name for the record. Okay, we will begin. Madam Clerk, will you please call roll?
Councilmember Breitigam.
Here.
Councilmember O'Neill.
Here.
Councilmember Bowie.
Here.
Councilmember Klopfenstein.
Here.
Councilmember Kim Nguyen.
Here.
Mayor Pro Tem Deidre Nguyen.
Here.
Mayor Jones.
Here. All right, may I please ask Maria Stipe to recite the invocation? And can I ask Mayor Pro Tem Tuha Nguyen to lead us in the pledge?
Thank you, Mayor. I'd like to ask everyone listening to please prepare yourselves according to your faith. Dear Heavenly Father, we thank you for everyone gathered here and those participating remotely, and for the sense of high purpose that we share. As we consider the items before us, we ask that you would guide us and give us wisdom to make the best decisions for our Garden Grove community. Amen.
Everybody put your hand over your heart and repeat after me. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Alrighty, thank you. That takes us on to oral communications. Madam Clerk, is there anyone in the chamber wishing to speak?
We do have one speaker card, and that's from Tom Raber.
Hi, I'm Tom Raber. Third time in this year of 2022, I'm talking in front of 7 empty, elected, dusty seats. Where are you? Are you at home? Are you at a restaurant? Or are you at City Hall, Mr. Mayor Steve Jones? The agenda, it's a legal document. Under public comments, the pink card is to be given to the city clerk before the meeting. Not during the meeting, not while the meeting is commenced, but before. Now you're gonna say, what's should? Which shall is the pretense to should. Is there a California state emergency? Well, I guess there's not in LA. 100,000 people this Sunday coming up for the Super Bowl on Sunday, February 13th, will be there. Very interesting on their COVID pandemic items. First of all, the external fence, which there is none, will be erected to take the herd of people through a maze. My question is, does Garden Grove allow the cattle to be herded, or are you a sanctuary city? Does this include the people that know about the vaccine? These herded people at the Super Bowl need to show their vaccination card. Yet, we have the U.S. Constitution that we do not have to. These herded people must show the government ID, but yet we don't have voter ID. These herded people must wear an N95 mask that is placed on their seats, but yet we were told the N95 is only for professionals. This is the kicker. Only cashless purchases. That means our money is no good there. It's against our U.S. Constitution. The herded people will be timed while they eat. Because, you know, if you go to a restaurant and you eat, you don't have to wear the mask. But yet they're going to be timed. And if they go over the time, they're going to be told to put the mask on. What has America become? Seriously. Are we going back to World War II? Thank you.
Madam Clerk, anyone else in the chambers wishing to speak?
Yes, we do have one individual. One moment, please. You're the interpreter? Okay. Sorry. Excuse me. We have 3 callers.
Caller ending
Okay.
with numbers 291, please press star 6 to unmute yourself. Please clearly state your first and last name.
Hello, my name is Brian Malley. I'm a Garden Grove homeowner and taxpayer of 17 years. The item I want to address, the first item, is consent items. Item 2A, adoption of resolution making specified findings, reauthorizing the use of teleconference per AB 361. I would like the City Council to, however, either vote no on this or to disregard it. However, technically you guys do this. I'm looking at the California Department of Public Health statement on February 7th, 2022, requirements for visitors in acute healthcare long-term settings. The Department of Health has, for the most vulnerable population in California, has let this expire as of February 7th. The amended order is effective as of February 8th. This is a 6-page document with all kinds of laundry list of how we protect the most vulnerable. Also, I downloaded a 22-page document from Orange County Health Officers' Orders and Strong Recommendations that has a whole laundry list, 7 or 8 major items with many, many sub-items as to the public health called. I did this yesterday at lunch. Surprisingly, when I went to bed last night at 10 o'clock, turned on the news, the big item was about the change of the mask order, which this 22-page document would expire on February 15th. Not surprising to me, everybody glommed on to item 2, which is the mask. So, which is quite a divisive thing. So what I'm saying is this document, this resolution was downloaded on February 2nd. It is not current. And I would ask the City Council to not approve this. And if the City Council, for some reason, thinks that their judgment on public health matters is better than the OC County, I would ask publicly the city manager, as per this resolution, page 2, item 5, which authorizes him to implement this, and also to request that the public meetings are held in conjunction with the Brown Act 5.3. Excuse me, I just lost the paper. Give me 1 second. This is page 2, item 5 of the resolution states the city manager is authorized and directed to take all actions necessary to carry out the intent and purpose of this resolution, including conducting open and public meetings in accordance of Government Code Section 54953E and
Caller.
other applicable provisions.
Caller, your 3
provisions of the
minutes is
Brown
up.
Act. So,
Thank you very much. Caller ending with numbers 957, please press star 6 to unmute yourself. Please clearly state your first and last name.
My name's Craig Derby, founder of Parents Right to Develop Children for 24 years. I'm 5 on why our children are suffering. And Mayor, I listened to November of the OCT board about your quest, and I applaud that, and I work with you all the time. I agree that we need to develop the Environmental Justice Act. We need to target the traffic road reduction or Vision Zero. But when you go as a council, I encourage you to look at your staff and look at your meetings. If they don't line up, we have more pressing things now, and I encourage you to form an advisory committee above them and set the policies, because you've been mismanaging your part, Middle of Honor. I have documented that. Your roads are being subject to issues there. Or Acacia Nelson, I've wrote a ton of times to the council and Dan Carpolera about Acacia Nelson. It's a very high risk of injury or suicide, as in terms of walking across the street, and nothing got done with that. And so when you look at your Main Street, which is your big ticket, to Acacia to the trail, nothing has been done. And I say there's 10 dead trees, and you have a contract with your irrigation tree people or your contractor, and it's not happening. I just there on a car today, and you've got graffiti that have been there for 4 months. And you have busted fences at Acacia and Nelson, and it's a code enforcement issue. And the walls of your contractor painted is not painted uniform to look for this event on April 2nd. And they're painting your light poles in paint versus a pressure wash baking soda. And therefore, it's not even color to your policy that you were presented to. I have about a minute left. There is funds available. I've submitted one opportunity, and Hope Park is in Shasta County that 63 paid for it. We have opportunities to mirror what Long Beach is doing for 8 weeks, gardening and hydroponic for disadvantaged kids. And on AB 17, let me get here, 773 allows you to shut streets down. So where is your traffic commission? Where is your park ration having autonomy to go out and make some real recognition to the body of government? When's the last time you've audited your administration to see the growth that you have to meet, and having closed meetings in terms of maybe, not closed meeting, but shutting it down for the months and months? How are they supposed to expand and give you, at the pleasure of the mayor who you selected, to give your recommendations? I asked this council to form a workshop and revamp and retool, because you are having roads with the lanes of Lamson from Berkers to Gilbert, and you have no paint on the north side. And therefore, there is problems in your city. And you're going on a battery-operated batteries. You don't have the money for taxes to pay your roads. I have, 1 second left. Thank you.
Caller ending with number 600, please press star 6 to unmute yourself. Please clearly state your first and last name.
Hello, council members and Mayor Jones. This is Nicholas Dibbs, longtime resident of Garden Grove and a teacher educator. I want to first thank Maria Stipe, Assistant City Manager, for providing tonight's prayer and the prayers that she provides at prior council meetings. I think these prayers are very good to have, and so thank you, Maria, very much for doing those. I'd like to then bring your attention to consent item 2A, the resolution regarding AB 361. I think we need to ask ourselves, does it help the citizens of Garden Grove, especially those who cannot attend in person for whatever reason, and also those who may not have computer access, to be able to use an ordinary phone to call in and enter an access code in order to be able to participate and listen to the council meeting? Not everybody can. Hello, can you hear me now? Hello?
Yes, we can hear you.
Hello? Okay, well, somebody muted me, so I lost some time there. I don't know what happened. Anyway, I want to ask you to please put on the council agenda to make a future, and ask the city attorney Omar Sandoval, can we have an increased civic engagement by allowing teleconferencing access for public meetings just on an ongoing basis, regardless of what's going on with COVID? So just establish a city resolution in favor of increasing civic engagement by allowing telephone access for those who cannot attend in person, so that we can improve participation by the city citizens within Garden Grove. And this is important. So I brought it up in the past. So regardless of AB 361, could we have a near future item on the agenda or for discussion by the council to get direction about allowing the public to call in on an ongoing permanent basis? Okay, that's my request. Again, this is Nicholas Dibbs. Thank you very much for listening.
Madam Clerk, do we have any other callers?
No, we have no other callers, and we have no other people in the audience that wish to speak.
Anything written that you need to report out?
No, no written communications.
Okay, great. Thank you. So we will close oral communications, and we'll recess to successor agency. That's the only other legislative body we have tonight. So can I call to order the successor agency? And Madam Clerk, can you please call roll?
Member Breitigam?
Here.
Member O'Neill?
Here.
Member Deidre Nguyen?
Yeah.
Member Klopfenstein?
Here.
Member Kim Nguyen?
Here.
Vice Chair Bowie?
Yeah.
And Chair Jones.
Here. Okay, we already did oral communications, consent items. It's just receive and file of the minutes. Can I get a motion in a second?
I'll move it. Move the motion. Then I'll second
Is
it.
that good enough for you, City Clerk? Okay, roll call vote, please.
Chair Jones?
Aye.
Vice Chair Bowie?
Yes.
Member Kim Nguyen?
Yes.
Member Klopfenstein?
Yes.
Member Deidre Nguyen?
Yes.
Member O'Neill?
Yes.
Member Breitigam?
Yes.
Motion received, 7 yes votes.
Thank you. Any matters from agency members? Okay, seeing none, we will adjourn back to City Council. Takes us on to consent items. It's recommended that items 2A through 2I be acted on simultaneously unless anyone would like to pull an item. Do I have any requests to pull?
I'd like to pull 2A, please.
Okay. Any others or a motion for the balance?
I'll move the balance. Klopfenstein?
Second, Breitigam.
Roll call vote, please.
Councilmember Breitigam?
Yes.
Councilmember O'Neill?
Yes.
Councilmember Bowie? Councilmember Klopfenstein?
Yes.
Councilmember Kim Nguyen?
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Deidre Nguyen?
Yes.
Mayor Jones?
Yes.
Councilmember Bowie?
Yes.
Motion received, 7 yes votes.
Okay, item 2A as requested by Councilmember Breitigam.
Mayor, members of the City Council, do you wish a staff report for this item, or do you have any questions I may answer? This is Omar Sandoval, City Attorney.
I think we understand the report. We don't need it, but I don't want to speak for everyone. Maybe they do. I just have a concern. Making findings of an emergency. Our governor has issued a new edict and ended the mask mandates effective Friday. And, the number of Omicron cases is down, 91 or 93%, depending on which article you read. The next meeting, our next meeting isn't until February 22nd. I think one of the callers even spoke to, there's a Super Bowl this weekend. And so it's kind of hard to say there's still an emergency going on with all this when you factor in all of this. So, I would like to move rejection of 2A.
Councilman Fatboy here. I would concur with Councilman George Bradingham. Last week, not only that, last weekend we have the 2 festivals in Orange County. The Tet Festival I'm referring to, having tens of thousands of people. We also have 2 parades, one by in the Vietnamese community in Little Saigon, and the other by the Black History Society. A very big parade in Anaheim, one in Westminster. I think, and also given the fact that on the news that number of Omicron reduced drastically, so I think the state of emergency is already behind us. Now we do not know about the future, but should it come back again, then we reintroduce the state of emergency. But at this point, I don't think it makes sense to continue that. So I would say I guess Charles already make the motion. I would second it.
Why don't we have some more discussion on it, colleagues? Yeah, go ahead.
I have a point
Is
of
that stuff?
clarification. This is Kloppenstein. Yes, it is. Don't we have to pass this because we're meeting telephonically this evening? So isn't 2A, or is it about going forward?
Yeah, this is Omar. This is, let me just answer that question. So the law, AB 361, is really a temporary law on the books for 2 years. And while the state is still in the state of emergency, which it still is, the law requires that the council adopt and reauthorize meeting telephonically or teleconferencing every 30 days. And so if you don't pass this resolution today, then the 30 days from the first resolution will expire, and not just the city council, but all other bodies like the planning commission and your other boards will have to meet in person unless they themselves adopt their own resolution. But then you have to adopt the resolution before you can actually have the teleconference meeting. So they will need to have special meetings before the regular meetings in order to adopt the resolution. I hope that answers the question.
But this only goes, this is going forward.
Should we go back to meet? Should we go back to meet in person? Because I don't think we are in need to meet online. If we decide to move back to meeting in person, let's say at the next council meeting, do we need to pass this?
You don't, but passing it doesn't prevent you from meeting in person. This only gives you the option to do either in person or teleconference.
Well, then by all means, let's pass it and then decide.
Yeah.
Because who knows what happens next.
Well, my motion and Pat's second was to decline the item. Just heads up on that.
I'll make a substitute motion to move the item as is. Councilmember Kim Nguyen.
I'll second
that.
Yeah, okay.
I mean, I
okay,
don't have a problem with going back to meeting in person, but I think we should move this forward just since it's on the agenda this evening. And
Mr. Mayor, Councilman O'Neill, when I want to make a comment.
Yeah, go ahead, John. Yeah, please.
Oh, I just wanted to comment mainly for the public to know that, every public agency was required by state law to have these on every month to vote to keep meeting, virtually. And like the public speaker said, and like George has brought up, and Pat, we had to post before that we actually had the meeting. So things have changed a little bit. I'm in favor of, getting back to meeting in person. I think we're over the hump. I think even if we had to meet in person at the dais, we should probably be there. And if we felt concerned, the public could be in the next room or socially distanced within the room, since we do have a small chambers. But I just wanted to get that out there so the public knows that staff and council was required by law to post this so we could either vote to continue meeting virtually or not. So I just wanted to make that clear. Thanks.
Can I, once again, this is Councilmember Kloppenstein, just for point of clarification. We can pass this tonight and then still meet in person at the next meeting on February 22nd.
Correct.
Okay.
My question is, will we though? If we pass it tonight,
Separate action.
we won't end up meeting, because what'll happen is because we violate the Brown Act, they'll do a poll of us, and then we'll never know the results of that poll, except that the majority went one way or the other, and and we'll end up not meeting. And so that's why I just want to end this. There is no state of emergency. Heck, we're having a Super Bowl this weekend. Obviously, there's no real emergency and no need to do this. So, just, my 2 cents.
Mayor Jones, this is Councilmember.
I am.
I'm sorry, who was that? Was that Stephanie? Was that you again?
That was Kim Nguyen.
Oh, Kim, go ahead.
Yeah, I just wanted to say that I think it's pertinent that we pass this in the event that it's not just about the state of emergency within the state or within the county, but also if we, for whatever reason, have an outbreak at City Hall and staffing shortages, that we have this in place to be able to have virtual meetings in the event that occurs. So just to have this in place, I'm not opposed to returning to council chambers, but I would like to have this in place as a safety net in the event that there is an unforeseen circumstance that we're not having to meet in a special meeting to rush through and approve something. I believe the city attorney made it clear that this is just allowing the ability to meet virtually if necessary, but doesn't require us to continue to meet virtually moving forward.
Okay. Anybody else? We have a substitute motion and a second to pass 2A. Roll call vote, please.
Mayor Jones?
Aye.
Mayor Pro Tem Deidre Nguyen?
Yes.
Councilmember Kim Nguyen?
Yes.
Councilmember Klopfenstein?
Yes.
Councilmember Bowie?
No.
Councilmember O'Neill?
Yes.
Councilmember Brightigam?
No.
Motion received, 5 yes votes, with Councilmembers Brightigam and Bowie voting no.
Alrighty, thank you. Before we move on, should we address the elephant in the room and talk about the next meeting? Of
I think we
how we
can.
want
It's
to.
up the agenda. Actually, technically it is at the very bottom.
It is on the agenda, either under the context of 2A or under the context of the adjournment. You can adjourn to an in-person meeting.
We could wait and discuss that under matters or under the adjournment if you guys like, but we could do it right now since we're talking about it as well, I believe.
Let's just get that back.
Yeah, John, go ahead.
I'm all in favor of trying a meeting in 2 weeks, barring anything that may happen. I'm not opposed to being in chambers. Like Council Member Nguyen said, it's a safety mechanism to where if something happens between now and then, we've done this and we have the option. So I'm not opposed to meeting in person in 2 weeks. Thanks.
I agree,
Okay.
Klopfenstein.
Yeah.
Me too.
Okay. I would.
Deidre Nguyen.
Got it. I would gather by the comments we heard that there's direction for staff to proceed towards having the next meeting in person. Okay. Thank you. We'll go on to public hearings, item 3A.
Item 3A.
Hold on a second.
Okay.
What perfect timing.
Yeah.
It's on point tonight. We're supposed to hear this at exactly 7 o'clock, and it's exactly 7 o'clock. So we'll move on to 4A. 3A.
Item 3A is the second public hearing regarding the redistricting process post-2020 census. And Maria Stipe, our Assistant City Manager, along with David Ely, consultant with Compass Demographics, will be providing you with the report.
Thank you, Madam Clerk, and good evening, Mayor and members of the City Council. Tonight, the City Council is asked to conduct a second public hearing regarding the redistricting process following the 2020 census. As you know, after each decennial census, local governments are required to use new census data to update their City Council district lines to reflect how local populations have changed. In accordance with federal law, districts must be nearly equal in population, and cities are required to engage their communities in the redistricting process. They do this by holding public hearings and workshops and doing public outreach, including to non-English speaking communities. So on hand tonight, we have both Vietnamese and Spanish translators who can assist with any translation services that may be needed. So if anybody's calling in for the public hearing, or if anybody is in the council chambers in person, we do have translation services available. We also have the city's consultant, Dave Ely of Compass Demographics, who's guiding the city's redistricting process here with us to provide a report on the city's community participation process and related feedback that the city has received up to this point. So with that, I'm now going to turn the presentation over to Mr. Ely, and he's going to walk us through our public participation process. So Dave, if you're on the line, if you could just jump on and begin. Thank you.
All right. As you know, we had a public workshop hearing earlier in January. I don't remember the date at the moment. But there was a number of people in the room, as well as people in a Zoom meeting. At that meeting, I initially presented general information about the redistricting process using the same PowerPoint as we did at the first public hearing. In addition to that, I had two alternative ways that individuals from the public could create their own maps and submit them to be considered as draft maps. At the meeting, there was testimony about particular communities of interest, and primarily the discussion related to districts 3 and 4, with the suggestion that they be rotated to be, rather than having an east-west boundary between them so that the districts are north and south, that there be an alternative boundary that runs north-south and separates the districts into an eastern and western district. Also, there was some discussion of people that they had created maps and that they wanted to give that information to us. To date, we have not received any maps. I do believe that there's a little bit of written correspondence, but it did not include actual map presentation. And so hopefully before the meeting on the 22nd, if people want to submit maps for consideration, they can do so as early as possible in order to have materials provided in advance of that meeting. But barring additional testimony from the public or specifically submitting maps for consideration or additional instruction from the council, we will proceed with treating the existing council districts as the draft map that will be under consideration. It is a fully legal map and was drawn according to all of the principles that are included in the Fair Maps Act just a few years ago, through a process that was far more extensive than what is required for the Fair Maps Act. And so that, I think, whatever information we receive between now and the next meeting will be shared publicly, and any maps that are submitted will be processed into similar format with the data that we have for the current districts. And that information will be provided before the February 22nd meeting, and preferably as soon as possible if members of the public intend to submit maps. I think that is all that I need to say about the process at this point. There's more detailed information.
I don't have any. Okay, yeah, and I don't have anything further either. So with that, we would recommend that the City Council conduct the second public hearing to receive public input on the district boundaries.
Thank you, David. Thank you, Maria. Council members, any questions or clarifications first before we actually open the public hearing and go to the public? Okay, let's go ahead and open the public hearing. Madam Clerk, is there anyone wishing to speak on this item?
We do have one person in the audience. His name is Roberto Herrera, and he is here to speak to you.
Okay, thank you.
Hello, Council. My name is Roberto, and I was a Garden Grove Unified School District student. I live in Santana off of Euclid. I work for Orange County, and I volunteer with the Orange County Rapid Response Network. We've been supporting a Garden Grove resident, community member for immigration purposes, but he couldn't make it out tonight, but he shared his support for our efforts. A coalition of us that includes Viet Rise and Resilience. We've been connecting with Garden Grove residents to provide input into the redistricting process. We support a more horizontal map, one that runs along the 22 freeway that keeps in mind communities of interest. And these communities of interest include the Vietnamese community, the Latinx community, and Korean communities. It is important to keep Little Saigon area and Koreatown area more intact rather than splitting them up into two areas as the current maps do. And I checked out the website to put a map, and I found it a little difficult. I'm not gonna lie. I was, I'm also engaged in the city of Santana's redistricting process. And so that one was a little bit easier. It kind of showed me the draft maps. So I think if there's a paper map that I can maybe access or have, that'd be easier for me to, color it in. But yes, I'll definitely check out the online process again to see if it was a little bit more accessible. But if there was a paper copy, I would appreciate that too. And those are my comments. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Roberto. Madam Clerk, is there anyone else there in the audience wishing to speak?
No, we have no other speakers in the audience. We do have two callers on the line, and we do respectfully ask that when they make their public statement that they announce that they press *6 and unmute, and clearly state their name for the record. And the
Caller ending with numbers 291, please press star 6 to unmute yourself, and please clearly state your first and last name.
Hello, my name is Brian Malley, and I just want to comment, if the council is going to continue or start again with in-person meetings at the next council meeting, is there any way to carry over this public hearing so more members of the community could be civically involved in this process? I don't know what that procedure is, but as a second hearing on an item that when I was in an earlier public meeting, there were many people who had comments, and thinking maybe we could get more input by continuing this, or I don't know how that's done, but anyway, that's my suggestion. Thank you very much, Council and Mayor.
Thank you.
Caller ending in 600, please press star 6 to unmute yourself, and please clearly state your first and last name.
Can you hear me now? Hello? Can you hear me now?
Yes, caller, we can hear you. Go ahead.
Okay, this is Nicholas Dibbs, community member, citizen of Garden Grove, and teacher educator. I want to comment kind of what the previous previous comments were, which is to increase civic participation, help increase and improve public participation and community engagement in line with the community engagement plan for the redistricting process, and that the process to maximize or to help increase and improve public participation and community engagement, in addition to in-person meetings, whether the council meets in person or not. I feel that the hearings, this hearing and the next one, and all the future hearings and all the public comment sessions should be open for people to call in on the telephone. So whether or not there is an emergency or not an emergency, whether there's COVID or not COVID concerns, allow members of the community to call in to voice their input, because not everybody can attend in person. So I want to get that said and clear. So we don't need to be limited by AB 361. I'm asking the council to please put this on the discussion and on the future agenda to just simply pass a city resolution, a council resolution, allowing anyone to call in if they want to call in, whether it's a hearing or public comment. I do think that this what we're doing tonight, where I can call in and I don't have to go down there in person, is a help, and not everyone can be there in person. So that's I don't always agree with what everybody says, but I think everybody should have the opportunity to call in if they cannot attend in person. And not everybody has a computer where they can access this live on the internet, so they can at least call in on the phone. So I'm going to ask my council representative, George Redistricting, to please put this on the discussion to have a ongoing permanent ability for members of the public to call in and provide their comments and to listen to the council meetings. And that will help increase and improve public participation and community engagement for all of our meetings. Once this is permanently adopted and in place, then it will catch on and other people will be calling in as well. So that's my input. I appreciate all the work Mr. Ely and the city staff have done to put this redistricting proposal together. Thank you very much. Again, this is Nicholas Dibbs.
Caller ending with numbers 869, please press star 6 to unmute yourself and clearly state your first and last name.
Hello, this is Dorothy Nguyen. Dear City Council members, I am a part of the Garden Grove Redistricting Committee. A group of residents from the city formed to advocate for the needs of the community's people in drawing the new district lines. When constructing your maps, please consider the recreation patterns, community ties, and cultural background that contribute to a community's voice and decision-making process. So I strongly urge you to keep in mind the community's interests that are part of Garden Grove. The first community of interest would be the Vietnamese community here, the majority of whom live along the 22 freeway east of Euclid and forms part of Little Saigon. Next would be Garden Grove's Koreatown, where a community of Korean Americans live and complete commercial activity along Garden Grove Boulevard east of Euclid. Both of these communities, though close together, are their own distinct entities and should have their own distinct districts to avoid diluting their voices. Next, the Latinx community in Districts 5 and 6 should be kept whole and together, intact, with the low-income communities along Garden Grove Boulevard kept together. I strongly urge you to adopt a map that includes these communities of interest and keeps these various communities of Garden Grove intact. Thank you.
Thank you. Madam Clerk, do we have any others?
No, Mayor Jones, that is the last of the callers.
Okay. Any written communications to note?
There is no written communications either.
All right, thank you. With that, we will close the public hearing, and I'll turn to my colleagues.
Mayor Jones?
Yeah, who is this?
George? Councilmember Brightigan?
Go ahead, George. Yeah, go
I
ahead,
just want
George.
clarification from staff. A couple of the callers had concerns about the next meeting, being that it's in person and not. I just want to clarify, this will be the third hearing at the next meeting, correct?
That's correct. So, go ahead, Omar.
I was going to say exactly the same thing you're saying, Maria. There's going to be a total of 4 public hearings.
Okay, so the public will have the ability to come, being that we're in person next meeting and speak.
Yes, that's correct.
Yeah, I just wanted to clarify that for the callers. Thank you.
Thanks, George.
Mayor Jones, this is Councilmember Kim Nguyen.
Go ahead.
Thank you. I just wanted to get some clarification from demographer David Ely regarding some of the comments that we heard from the public speakers. I know I heard mention of the Korean business district, which is mostly split between District 3 and 2. I just wanted a clarification because as far as I know, it's a Korean business district. We don't have a high propensity of or high population of Korean residents in Garden Grove. And so I just want to make sure if that's changed within the last census so that we're taking that into account if and when other maps are presented to us, we have that information.
It's actually in between 3 and 1.
Doesn't the Korean business district start on Brookhurst on Garden Grove Boulevard?
It goes through.
Yes, that's correct.
It goes through District 2 has it up to, I think it's Magnolia, and then I have it from Magnolia to Beach.
Got it.
That's right. It's between
2,
1
3,
and 3.
2, 3, and 1.
We're sharing, yes.
So that's it does not include 2. It does not include 2 at all. It's just between 1 and 3.
In response to the question about the demographics, most of the data that we have currently doesn't have a breakdown between different Asian categories. There is some data that we can look at, but yeah, in general, the Korean community is predominantly a business community, with the Korean population being located mostly outside of the city. And there's the issue with District 1 portion of that is that because of the geography of the city, District 1 pretty much has to include that area in order to have adequate population and be contiguous, which is required by law.
Correct. I think I forgot about that segment that goes into District 1. I believe the sentiment was to kind of have Districts 3 and 4 and 2 more so that they're somewhat horizontal instead of vertical. So I was trying to picture that in my mind and trying to pull up the districting tool to play around with that. Obviously, we know I have a lot of experience with manipulating the district lines to see what that looks like. And I just wanted to verify that I didn't make a mistake in forgetting a high population community in our city. So just wanted to make sure we have information available at the next meeting to kind of support whether or not that's necessary. I believe that the intent of having districts 3 and 4 vertically were to continue to have Little Saigon has its districts, the representation between the Vietnamese community and the Latino community. So if we could have some, whatever information is available, I know that the census data doesn't break down by Asian category specifically, whether it's Vietnamese, Korean, Chinese, etc. But if there's other information we can have available to the public and to council members for the next public hearing, that would be really helpful.
Councilman Phap Bui, if I may comment.
Yeah,
I look at the, yes, thank you. For the consultants, if you look at the Asian data, and then if you separate them by looking at their last name, they are very specific Korean last name, and I did that before in the 2018 election. So the Korean voters and residents is about 1%. There's very few Korean residents in Garden Grove, and I don't believe it is increasing. Rather than, I think it's rather decreasing, not increasing, because they are moving to Irvine and Fullerton and other areas. So if you go through that formula, you would be able to come with a good estimate of the Korean population in Garden Grove.
The data that we have with individual names would be the registered voter list. So we don't have individual names for the entire population. The census doesn't include anything like that. But we do have surname match data for the registered voters, and I can certainly bring that data.
Okay.
I just wanted to add that, as far as keeping communities together, that was also the intent with keeping as much of the Korean business district in one district. But to your point, David, that part of that is in District 1, and in order to keep things contiguous had to be done that way. So while, if you're trying to make a case for Korean residents, I don't think there is one to be made. But as far as trying to keep communities together, obviously, the business district is almost whole. So that is there done on purpose. All of those things were considered when that map was created. And all of those communities were engaged in the process and were present during public hearings, made public comment in support of the map that currently exists. I just wanted to make sure if there was any changes. I know we did have a population increase of about 1,000 people, but wanted to verify.
That would be extremely difficult, because if you make that argument, then I also make a counter argument that it is impossible to keep the Vietnamese business district together, because the Vietnamese business district span from District 2, 3, 4, and 5 as well. So it will be very difficult to keep a district map, and it also span not only the Vietnamese business district spanning from east to west, but it also going from north to south. So how do keep them all together? The only way to do that would be only have 2 districts.
I think
I don't think it makes sense at all.
I think the first meeting, and I could be wrong, David, if you can correct me, I think we were forbidden on drawing districts based on race anyway. So I think that's kind of all a moot point. Am I wrong?
You can use race as part of a cultural community of interest and a language community of interest. The considerations of race can't predominate unless there's evidence of racially polarized voting and population. Protected populations from the Voting Rights Act having their votes diluted. So I think that the consideration of ethnicity is as part of a community of interest analysis is perfectly legitimate, as long as it's being considered along with all the other communities of interest that are relevant.
This is Jitra Suha. Mayor, Mr. Mayor, may I make a comment?
Yeah, please go ahead, Mayor Pro Tem.
I think for the past two public hearings and public workshops that I attend, I noticed that the public comment mostly focus on the reason focus on three and four because the main thing the public comment was made was regarding the Korean business district, and I think we have David and Councilmember Kim have made the points that the business Korean district is mostly Korean business owner who not majority of them are not Garden resident, and they not reside in District 3 and 4. Mostly Korean business district is between the 3 and 1 that I share with Councilmember George Brodigan, the District 3. So I think that, I mean, 3 out of 6 comments make that become highlight regarding Korean business district. So I don't know if we be able to accommodate that just based on that number. And I had, Councilmember Kim know the map very well because she would participate heavily, make that map. And back then, I myself and Councilmember Bowie also worked very hard on the map as well. We know the map that fairly, that representing the community of interest, especially Little Saigon. So maybe we can hear more from the public comment, but in regard to the Korean business district as the main, it's one of the comment that keep the community of interest. I don't know that's how that's going to work.
Mr. Mayor, Councilman O'Neill.
Yeah, go ahead, John.
I just thought I'd just chime in and in the discussion a little bit. I just want to remind everybody about a lot of work that went into these original maps in 2016. We've only used these maps in 3 elections so far. A lot of work went in it. I saw more participation in the origination of these existing maps than I have by far than this go around. I don't think we should change maps just to change. I'm not opposed to 3 and 4 changing around, but I just want to remind everybody all the hard work that went into these original maps back in 2014, 15, 16, I guess it was. We're a melting pot, as everybody knows. Garden Grove, each district has a huge amount of different folks in each district, and it doesn't seem to have affected Garden Grove much. If you look at the percentages, very minor changes up or down in any of the districts. And then, obviously mayor is voted citywide, so everybody participates in that. And I think, and I can say I've seen it from 2016 till now, how much the districts have improved the voice of the folks that live in each one of those districts, regardless of their race or religious beliefs or nationality or business opportunity, whatever it is. They're all heard by their district council members. So I'm open to it. We're gonna go through the next couple public hearings, see if somebody puts a map together. But just to change the maps, just to change them, what I saw on this redistricting state federal maps was pretty drastic, and it seemed out of line in some areas, but that was up to those agencies. But I really like the maps. I think they've been working out, but that's just my 2 cents. Thanks.
I think that's a great point, John, and also to add that our population has not really even increased very much at all after the census was done. So,
Mayor Jones, Councilmember Kim Nguyen, I just wanted to clarify. I don't think I said it eloquently enough, and I just wanted to clarify for Councilmember Bowie that I didn't mean to say, that what I meant to say is that communities of interest were taking into consideration when you're looking at District 5 and 6. District 5 has a plurality Latino population, and District 6 has a majority Latino population. Districts 3 and 4 have both majority Asian populations. And so keeping them together as far as, in the same district as best as possible, but taking things into consideration as far as I can't remember, is it the, Councilmember Brodigan, is it the industrial district? What are we calling that district over there? I think we just renamed it recently. That was under, I think George tried to unmute himself.
Yeah, the industrial area or the industrial center,
I think we just changed the name and I can't remember what we officially named it to, but that was taken under consideration, the Korean Business District, Little Saigon Business District, and then all of the high schools, all of our parks, our public institutions such as libraries, et cetera. So all of those things are taken into consideration and factored in the creation of this map. So the two Asian majority districts obviously were kept together, and the same thing for the Latino majority and plurality district. So I wanted to clarify that point. I didn't mean to say that the business district itself had to be in one, but that was trying to keep communities of interest together as far as the business owners, their interests and concerns, et cetera.
Thank you. Any other comments on this? I'll note really quick that this is the second of 4 public hearings that we're doing on this. The recommendation is to receive public input, which we did during the public hearing process, and then just to receive the report from David Ely tonight before we go on to the 3rd public hearing, which I believe will be in person. So any other commentary at this time? Or would anyone like to move that we receive the report?
I'll move it.
I'll second it, John.
Roll call vote, please.
Councilmember Breitigam,
Yes.
Councilmember O'Neill,
Yes.
Councilmember Bowie,
Yes.
Councilmember Klopfenstein,
Yes.
Councilmember Kim Nguyen,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Deidre Nguyen,
Yes.
Mayor Jones.
Yes.
Motion received, 7 yes votes.
Okay, items for consideration, 4A.
Item 4A is award a contract to Elecnor Belco Electric, Inc. for the construction of project number CP 1292,000, traffic signal installation and modifications at various locations, fiscal year 21-22. And Mr. Murray is here to give the report.
Thank you, Madam Clerk, Mr. Mayor, and members of the council. Tonight, the City Council is being asked to award a contract to Eleanor Belco Electric Incorporated for a new traffic signal installation at Chapman and Lamplighter, and for traffic signal modifications at Euclid and Stanford, Garden Grove and Casa Linda Lane, and Garden Grove and Gilbert Street, and finally Brooker Street at Stanford Avenue. The signal projects will include the installation of new signal equipment, including poles, cabinets, conduits, cables, and vehicle video detection. This will also include signing and striping and any required ADA improvements at those intersections. All work is to be completed at a cost of almost $1.3 million. Staff received and opened 7 bids on January 12th of this year and determined that Elknor Belco Electric Incorporated was the lowest responsible bidder. Should the council decide to award the contract tonight, the contract can begin work in March and should be complete by the fall of 2022. This project was included in this year's capital improvement plan and will be paid for with traffic mitigation fees and red light camera fees. This includes staff's report and available should you have any questions.
Thanks, Bill. Any questions? Or a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve. Klopfenstein?
I'll second it, Kim Nguyen.
You just second.
Roll call vote, please.
Mayor Jones,
Aye.
Mayor Pro Tem Deidre Nguyen,
Yes.
Councilmember Kim Nguyen,
Yes.
Councilmember Klopfenstein,
Yes.
Councilmember Bowie,
Yes.
Councilmember O'Neill,
Yes.
Councilmember Breitigam.
Yes.
Motion received, 7 yes votes.
Thank you. Takes us on to ordinances presented for a second reading and adoption. And we do have two of them. So 5A. Clerk, do you want to read it?
Sure. 5A is the second reading and adoption of ordinance number 2930. It's entitled An Ordinance of the City Council of the City of Garden Grove, adding section 2450 to chapter 2-4 City Council of Title II Administration and Personnel of the Garden Grove Municipal Code, adjusting and codifying the compensation of the City Council.
Move to approve.
Second, George.
Okay, roll call vote, please.
Councilmember Brightigam.
Yes.
Councilmember O'Neill.
Yes.
Councilmember Bowie.
No.
Councilmember Klopfenstein.
Yes.
Councilmember Kim Nguyen.
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Deidre Nguyen.
No.
Mayor Jones.
Yes.
Motion received, 5 yes votes, with Mayor Pro Tem Deidre Nguyen and Councilmember Bowie voting no.
Thank you. That takes us on to item 5B, and I'm actually going to hand it over to Mayor Pro Tem Tuha Nguyen to run item 5B, since there's a technicality where I should recuse myself on this one. Are you there, Tuha?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, I'm here. Sorry, I was on mute. Madam Clerk, can you reading the title of the second reading?
Yes, I will. Item 5B is second reading and adoption of ordinance number 2931, entitled An Ordinance of the City Council of the City of Garden Grove, adding section 2460 to chapter 24 City Council of Title II Administration and Personnel of the Garden Grove Municipal Code, establishing additional compensation for the city's elected mayor pursuant to Government Code Section 36516.1.
Colleagues, can I have a motion and second?
I'll move it.
I'll second it. Kim Nguyen.
Madam Clerk, can we get the roll call vote, please?
Councilmember Brightigam.
Yes.
Councilmember O'Neill.
Yes.
Councilmember Bowie.
No.
Councilmember Klopfenstein.
Yes.
Councilmember Kim Nguyen.
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Deidre Nguyen.
No.
Motion received, 4 yes votes, with Councilmember Bowie and Mayor Pro Tem Deidre Nguyen voting no.
Alrighty, thank you. I'll pick it back up from here. That takes us on to matters. We do not have any matters listed, so we'll just go around the horn. Starting with District 1, George Brightigam.
Not much to report. We had a wonderful TEP parade event. A beautiful day for that last weekend. And, you know, to all the folks listening, happy Lunar New Year. Not a whole lot in District 1 right now. One thing I think we should give some direction to focus on our code enforcement supervisors. We're really lacking. We have, you know, code enforcement folks and this city vendor that we contracted with, but there's no supervisors. We need somebody to, you know, manage the fort, and it's getting really bad. So I think we should look at that real soon, promoting somebody or filling those spots.
Thank you. District 2, John O'Neill.
Okay, I'm here. Sorry, trying to get off mute like everybody else. Not a lot tonight. Just wanted to clarify, maybe before the next council meeting, I believe we have a community cleanup in District 2, and it's going to be, I believe, Saturday the 19th. Maria, could you confirm that location and time and date for me?
Yes, so it's going to be on February 19th from 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. And we were going to do it at Magnolia Park, but we've had such a huge turnout for these events. We need to use a larger parking lot. So we're going to move it over to Skylark Elementary School. We're still working with the school district to finalize that, but we're 99.9% sure it's going to be at Skylark Elementary School from 9 to 11 a.m. on February 19th. And we'll also have a message board at Magnolia Park just to redirect anybody who, because we previously had it on our website at the Magnolia Park location, but we'll be redirecting anybody that might show up there to the Skylark Elementary parking lot.
Thank you,
Okay.
Maria. I just wanted to clarify that for the folks because we'll be doing that before the next council meeting. And then also for anybody in District 2 in that area or anywhere in that area, Skylark's just a little bit more down the road there, across the street from Magnolia Park. So it's not far from where Magnolia Park was. So I hope to see everybody there, and we'll get rid of a lot of this junk that ends up on the couches and tables that end up out on the sidewalk. I think we're all frustrated with that. So we're trying to do our part, partnering with Republic to get that done. So that's all I have, Mr. Mayor. Thank you.
Thank you. MPT Tuha-Win, District 3.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I have nothing, but as we next Monday is a Valentine's Day, so I just want to say happy Valentine to everybody. Thank you.
Thank you. Fat Bowie, District 4.
Thank you, Mayor Jones. Just would like to express, on behalf of the Tate Parade Committee, I would like to express our tremendous appreciation to the Mayor and the Council for participating in the Tate Parade. Sincere appreciation to our police departments and firefighters for helping us out during this time of pandemic. This is among the nine parades most difficult. Thursday night and Friday night, I have no sleep at all because of the additional works that asserted on us to deal with. And thank you, everyone. Thank you, City of Garden Grove, for helping us out. Other than that, I hope it was an event for everyone, not just Westminster, even though it is on Bonsai Avenue, but it's an event for countywide and even people from far away, Southern San Diego, San Jose, as far as even people from Michigan, Chicago, they flew out here to participate in the parade. So thank you very much, and I hope everyone enjoyed it.
Thank you, Pat. Stephanie Kloffenstein, District 5.
Thank you. I just wanted to make mention of the community cleanup that we had this past Saturday. It was in District 5 over in the parking lot of the Main Branch Library and Community Meeting Center. It was extremely well attended. Within those 2 hours, I think we ended up filling 8 or 9 of those large roll-off bins. So there was an incredible amount of cars with an incredible amount of bulky items to get rid of, which only makes the community look better. So thank you to Public Works as well as your public staff for being there and working the event. And I'm sure the next one will be just as big of a success.
Thanks. Kim Nguyen, D6.
Thank you, Mayor. Just wanted to highlight, we did pass a proclamation earlier today during consent celebrating Black History Month. Also on Thursday, February 10th, the Garden Grove Teen Action Collaborative has a career building workshop about career networking site LinkedIn. For teens out there, please make sure to keep an eye on that and register soon. Please make sure that you are an actual teen trying to participate in this and not a random stranger, or unless you're a parent or a guardian. And lastly, wanting to wish everyone a happy Valentine's Day, especially my partner, David Penaloza.
Thank you. City Manager Scott Stiles, anything to report?
No items, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you. General Counsel, anything to report out from our closed session or otherwise?
Yes, Mayor. This evening, the City Council did meet in closed session. The first item, workers' compensation, was taken off calendar, so it was not discussed. And the second item was discussed, but there is no reportable action out of that item. Thank you. That's all I have.
All righty. Thank you, everyone, for hanging in there and attending. And with that, we will stand adjourned. Please enjoy the rest of your evening. We'll see you in person next time. Thank you.
Good night, everybody.
Good night.